Hello, everybody. It's Friday night, the 7th of February, and it's time for Mariner of Spirit. I'm Greg, I'm your host. And tonight we have another special guest who is somebody that I've known for quite some time. And he has been around quite a few places as far as the Chicagoland area and where he is now. He did some work down in New Orleans, paranormal. He's done a lot around, and it's really great to have him. Before I bring him on, I want to go ahead and mention a few things that I normally do. And number one, I usually mention the people that I support, and that number one is Potographs, and that's with Tim Miley, a great paranormal investigator who started Potographs for when he lost his pup, and he started selling pictures of himself and his pup at one of the first Paracons, and it went over so big he was able to start raising money, and all that money goes into animal shelters and care for lost animals, etc. The second one is PKC, Paranormal Kicks Cancer, with Chris Gaskowski and Alex Wilkinson, a great couple from down in the Florida area who do benefits and fundraisers for cancer research, and they're all haunted. So it's another great group. I met them at Old South Pittsburgh in Old South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, quite a few years ago now, and I just thought they were amazing people, and I really wanted to support them. So, and they're here. They're not here right now, but that's why they're on this part of the program. Thirdly is the Jessica Petrie Foundation, and that is a resource for expecting mothers and families of pregnant women with mental illness. And Jessica was the daughter of Howard Petrie, who's one of he's the owner of Parallax, and that was the old PUN, Paranormal United Network. So those are the three people that I support right now. And then we go to the other group, and it's the authors. The authors I've been reading in the last 2 years or 3 years, something like that. And it's the people that, if you get an opportunity to go and you want to go ahead and get a book, get one by one of these authors. And these are all people that dabble in the paranormal community. And number one is Bruce Holliday. Number two is Tobias Wayland. Number three is Adam Benedict, Kathy Kressel, Barnaby Jones, Sherilyn Cotter, Dr. Heatherly Langdon, Lynn Monet, Ron Iacovetti, Victoria Munday, Tony Rathman, Natalie Jones, Patty Negri, Sylvia Schultz, Amelia Cotter, Rex Nielsen, David Sloan, and Christina Bloom. And they're all great people, and they do a great job with the book. The one that I'm in the middle of right now, is by Ryan Yacovetti, and that's TTSI, and that's the Digital Seance Initiative. If you get an opportunity, this is interesting. Really, really, it can float my boat anytime. So what I'm going to do now is going to bring the comments in, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring in my guest, and it's Mr. Len Dorman, who is a gentleman that's been around the Chicago area for quite a few years before he moved away. Probably had too many parking tickets, but we're not going to get into that. Len, great to have you here. It's always a pleasure. And you're an amazing man. You always have been. And the things you've done and the people you've met and, you worked with, are really, really cool people. So why don't you give everybody a little introduction of who you are besides Southern Fried Paranormal?
All right. Well, Shadow Seekers Paranormal says, I think I just saw that guy. Yes, you did. We were
That
talking.
was the show you were on.
Yes, that I had Chris Hartle on my show just 20 minutes ago, along with Dawn. She is a relatively new member of his group, helping him with the Paranormal Rockdown, which is coming this July. Very impressive list of guests. In fact, my compliments, Greg, on the list you just listed about people you're working with. That's an impressive list of people too, who know what they're doing. Amelia and I have been friends for a long time. Amelia Cotter is probably one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. She is a great human being overall, not just paranormally. I'm not saying that because she's, in the paranormal field. She's just a great overall human being.
She is. She's amazing, to say the least. I know that. Go ahead.
I was going to say you got quite a few people in the chat room. Some are speaking to me, and some are speaking to you. I'd like to say hello and thank you for being here to everybody in the chat room. And if you got any questions for me, just type it in there. I can see. I saw one from YouTube, and I saw several from Facebook. Their comments. So if you want to ask me something, ask away, and Rick can highlight it, and we'll dive into it.
Sure. And we even have a wonderful lady from Scotland in there.
Whoa!
Who is this one right here?
Oh, hello, Liz.
Malay. And she's from Scotland, and she was on Reggie's and my show last night for a while. So was Kimmy. But that's one of them. Some of the people that are in here right now, if I go down and I mention their names, Kimmy Corpse, Liz Malay, and we got Russell Reynolds. Russell is another podcaster on Supernatural Link with me, and he's a great guy. He's a relative of the Warrens, which makes him extremely interesting. You've got them, you've got your Shadow Seekers Paranormal, and the Shadow Seekers, are they from Illinois?
Shadow Seekers, Chris? Yes.
Okay.
He's from the Chicagoland kind of Wisconsin area. That's where of course, right now he's doing most of his work around the mansion up there for the Paranormal Rockdown. But yes, he's kind of in that area.
He's sort of running that, isn't he?
He's what?
I think he's sort of running it, isn't he?
Yes, him and Jamie Lynn are pretty well running it, and that's why we had to cut my show off short. One, I had to be here. Two, Jamie Lynn wanted the two of them, my two guests, in on a conference call. You know how it is when you do an event. You're always, the meetings will drive you crazy.
Adriana Trudel's here too. She's from up on the East Coast. There's a few people in here from the East Coast too.
And
But
she watched it. She watched my show. She just said she enjoyed it, so I thank you.
she's a great lady. So you have been around the block quite a few times, and you have done a lot of your work basically on the south side, and then in the loop area, or the south loop if you want to say it, on the north
Yeah.
side too. So I mean, you're really, you've got a lot more behind you than a lot of people around as far as your investigations in Chicago. So if you want to, and you're an independent para investigator, and you know, I've always thought that your camera work was extraordinary. And if you want to go ahead and give everybody a little more information on you and what you're doing now, that would be great too.
All right. What I'm doing right now is this year I'm only going to two Paracons. Cajun Country Paragon in Lafayette, Louisiana, coming up in April 12th. And then the Paranormal Rockdown, where that Friday night we're going to do a rock concert. I will be podcasting during the rock concert, which would be about a 15-20 minute drive away from the event itself. Then I will be podcasting during the Paracon, interviewing people, passersby. If anybody goes to the Paranormal Rockdown in July, if you want to stop by and get a little FaceTime on a podcast, I'll pull up a chair for you. Be interviewing
Where are you going to do that at?
Huh?
Where are you going to do that? Where are you going to do that at?
Oh, where the Paranormal Rockdown is.
Okay,
mansion,
so you're
the
going to
very
be,
haunted mansion center.
yeah, well, yeah, it's the school.
Yes, the huge school that's wide open. I will be setting up not in the speakers area. You don't want to throw people, on the internet without telling them, and I don't want to clear all that with the speakers. And they've got a long list of speakers. I will be just outside that area, interviewing people while the speakers are going. So I'm open to any paranormal group wants a little bit of FaceTime, and of course any of the other guests who may want to talk during the event that may not be listening to that particular speaker at that particular time. And then during the ghost hunt, we're going to set up. We were talking about a little bit on my show. I may set up where the speakers are exactly, Broadhead Manor. For some reason, I had a brain fart, couldn't think of that. But yes, Broadhead Manor. And I will be setting up somewhere where I can sit there and watch people go through while I, with my special lighting that I use, the cross spectrum lighting, and have a room lit up. And people are more than welcome to come in there if they want to spend a few minutes with me ghost hunting. They're fine if they want to ask any questions about ghost hunting, the paranormal. I'll be glad to answer them. And of course, glad to talk about the type of lighting that I'll be using, which uses some IR along with some UV, along with some red and green and blue lighting, which can light up a room in kind of a twilight. Like
that's full spectrum, right?
Hmm.
Isn't that?
Well, full spectrum doesn't cover, all the spectrums. All it does is gets a little bit in IR and a little bit in UV, and you kind of cover everything in between what we normally see. And you throw a little bit of IR light, because some spirits reflect IR light, some don't. Some and that this has been caught on some of the shows where UV light lights up a spirit where IR will not. Yeah, it's basically close to full spectrum as far as the human eye is concerned.
That's really interesting because I have
And
all sorts of different lights, but
mhm.
I
That
always
cross
use
spectrum
IR.
lighting, I mix it with UV and a red light that's just to the human vision of IRs, just inside uh, where you can actually see it. It comes as a deep red, but it's very close to IR where you can't see IR. The You got the blue bulb, which is basically a black light. It's not quite a full black light because that's a little bit closer to UV. That's showing some really low UV. The UV lights I have are much higher that you can't tell. You got some black light, you got some purple, but you can't really see it. And the middle of the spectrum green bulb gives you a little bit of light where you can see where you're going, but so you don't bang your shin against every piece of furniture in the room. But green light and the deep red does not close your eyeballs. Red light actually forces your pupils to almost dilate, open up real wide, so you have night vision. And green light will not close your eyes, where a white light or yellow light forces your pupils to close, and you can't see your hand in front of your face when the light's gone in the dark.
Right.
This allows you to keep your night vision, so you continue with your paranormal investigation without having to wait for 15, 20 minutes for your eyes to readjust.
Well, you've done so much filming, over the years that it's really remarkable when you stop and think about the locations that you've been filming and investigating, and it's some of the great locations. I sort of stopped and I have to ask this question. You did Oakwood Cemetery in Waukegan a long time
Uh,
ago.
yeah, the Oakwood Cemetery. I forget what part of Chicago it is, but it's in the South Side.
It is the South Side. Why was
That's it.
Waukegan down there?
I don't know. Uh, Maybe it's on Waukegan. I don't know. Oakwood Cemetery is on the South Side of Chicago, and in
Okay.
fact, if you are anybody on the South Side of Chicago, that's where they get buried. You've got the two baseball commissioners buried there. You've got the crookedest mayor in the history of Chicago, which is saying something. When you're the number one crookedest mayor of Chicago, that is the top of a very high pile. Not talking bad about the mayors of Chicago, but that's a high pile.
That certainly is.
Because how many perfectly honest mayors have you ever had in Chicago?
I don't know. I think the Daily. I think Mayor Daley, the old man was he was a politician, and I
Yes.
don't. You know, he is the one that I remember the most, and then his son.
Mhm.
But those were the two guys that I think that really brought some unity to the city. And remember when
Yes.
when the old man was talking about taking a break, for your lunch and going down to the lakefront, catching a fish, and that kind of thing he was talking about. I can remember that little speech he gave one time, and he says, "Where else can you do that? What other city can you do that in?" So it was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
What
Uh,
mayor isn't crooked?
yeah. Grandizer said, hello, Greg Cross. Isn't the South Side of Chicago, and the song was ZZ Top song? No, it was Jim Croce.
Thank you.
South Side of Chicago, in the baddest part of town.
Leroy
If you
Brown.
go down next, mm-hmm.
I saw that too. I started
that
to smile at it. It was pretty cool.
yeah,
But there,
but the that cemetery also has several gangsters uh, buried there. So it's you got a whole bunch of people that's there, and that's why I did so much filming there, video there. You've got one gangster that was led the 26th Street game, I think, before Al Capone. He was kind of over Al Capone till he died, and a lot of people said Al Capone had him. If he didn't kill him, he had him killed, and he is buried there. They also misdated his tomb. They didn't get the date on the tomb when he was buried because he was killed, so it was kind of a whoop, surprise, I'm dead. Uh, so they put the year they engraved the tomb on the tomb, not the year he got killed.
so who was that?
I am sitting here drawing a blank. I've been going.
You're having a brain fart like I do. I get brain farts all the time. That's
Another
no
one.
big.
I'm
Is
having
it? It's
another
not.
one. I could.
It wasn't Nitty, was it?
No. Like a few
Where did they
minutes
bury
ago, I
him?
couldn't say. Nitty. Uh, I never. That's one place I never went was Nitty's grave because I forget where he is buried. I'd have to do some research on that. But there were
So
several
I watched.
gangsters
Yeah, I watched
buried there on the
somebody's
south side.
show where Nitty killed himself, didn't he?
He,
I think he did.
yeah, I think he did. I believe he did.
And he
It's
was the
hard to
one
keep them
that
all
was,
apart, and it's hard to keep it all separated.
he was the one that always was up against the feds.
Yes.
Frank Nitty
Well,
was.
a lot of them had trouble with the feds because they were, of course, back in Prohibition. They were doing the beer things. The more modern ones, of course, everybody can drink. If you're over 21 or over, but they kind of moved into drugs. Some of them are completely legit. One thing, if you remember, the 26th Street Gang owns a car lot inside, and they got a couple of acres enclosed. They have for a car lot, and that's where I bought our Magnum. I actually purchased our
Wow.
car that we were still driving 9 years later from the mob.
That's awesome. Now you
It's
mentioned
kind of cool.
you were talking about Oakwood and Resurrection's down there too, right?
Resurrection is outside of Chicago, south of Chicago.
Okay.
So it's not actually inside the city limits of Chicago.
Because Resurrection is the one down there when we had that one Paracon on the south side at the ballroom,
Right.
and then your bar is down the street from there.
That's
Where
Chet's Melody Lounge.
Chet's.
Yeah. You can actually look across the street, standing in front of the bar, to see the cemetery. You're looking right at it.
Right. We had I was probably at about 4 or 5 Christmas parties in there at Chet's, and there was always something about going into the back end going into the men's bathroom because they said there was always a spirit in there.
Yes. I've actually got a video somewhere that's buried of kind of like we were talking about before we jumped on here, a light anomaly moving around in their basement. I'm actually one of the few people who's actually was allowed. It was a slow night. I was in
to
there
go in the basement
and got video of the basement of Chet's Melody
Wow.
Lounge.
That's pretty cool. That's one of the places if you ever wanted to go to, that's really a great little location, and that's Chet's. As far as the ballroom was concerned, uh, I can't remember the name. Mel, no,
Oh, was it Melody?
Melody Ballroom. No,
No, That's been Chet's Melody Lounge. What was the
yeah,
name?
yeah.
Uh,
It
right
was
across the street from Chet's. Uh,
real big back in the day, and
yeah.
we had a Paracon there, and a lady that I know went ahead and dressed up like Resurrection Mary, and she was walking down the middle of the street that night. People were just going crazy in the cars going by. They didn't know what to do.
And
I know.
that was just before it burned down.
Yes, yes. It was the week. It was the weekend before, and we were
Yeah.
there. So that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as far as the Chicagoland area, and you had a relationship with a gentleman who is was really big. He's like an icon in the paranormal community in the city of Chicago, and that was Richard Crow. And you were friends with
Yes.
Richard. So
Yes.
before we start to show a few of these videos that you have, they must be on your other computer. If you want to give a
Yes.
background, if you want to give a background to exactly what the videos are, so that when we start to play them, people will understand what they're looking at, and I'll remind them.
Okay. The uh, the old restaurant the Red Lion is open now. In fact, it was open just before I left. The people we sold our house in Chicago, they wanted to go to a nice Chicago-based restaurant for our last dinner together, and so we went to this location, which was 9 years ago, had just opened up that summer to eat. And this was video. This would be video of the backside and the front side of it as it looked in 2011 when it was closed. The pipes had busted. You couldn't get in there without a hazmat suit on. And what was this question?
Oh.
What got me in the paranormal field? Stories and books. No, I was actually, my parents' house was just uphill from a creek. And if you think about your Native Americans many years ago, any place there was water, you had Native Americans. We lived close to a creek, very close to a river. Yes, there were Native Americans there. And I saw Native American spirits around the house and, of course, outside the house. Mm-hmm. Also, my father owned a business where he rented space in an older building that was actually standing. It was built before the Civil War. It did not get bombed out in Columbus, Georgia, but was used as a military hospital. The basement was a basement during the Civil War, and that's where they put their worst patients. That they tried either cut their limbs off or tried to help them as much as they can, where they just took them in the basement to make them comfortable. So at night, even sometimes during the day, I could actually see and feel the spirits moving around in that basement because I was working there at his store as a child. So children are more susceptible to seeing paranormal activity than adults because we're told as adults that doesn't exist. And as a child, we're not aware of this.
Georgia? This was in Georgia.
Yes, this is in Columbus, Georgia. And I just answered the question: what got me into paranormal? Past experiences. It wasn't stories or TV shows. This was back in the '60s, uh, during the 1960s, and the very early '70s. About '70s, I was getting older and just kind of ignored that part. But through the '60s, I was seeing Native American spirits at home, and Confederate and Union soldiers at my father's business. And by the
So
way,
there
my
was
father was in the late '60s the mayor pro tem. So when I agree that all mayors are crooked, that's inside information.
okay. We got a few more people. We have Bigfoot and the Bunny. That's Kristen Johnson and Chris Carr, and then uh, we had somebody else here too. What am I? Anne Marie Young came in too. Anne Marie Young
Okay,
is
hello, Anne
another
Marie.
lady from. She's from up in the East Coast, up in around Boston, and Bigfoot and the Bunny are from Connecticut or Rhode Island, one of the two. He's going
Okay,
to shoot me when I get off the show.
did you
Did I what?
now back to what we were talking about before I answered Granzer's question about how I got into paranormal. You were talking about Richard Crow and us being friends. We started this friendship at this event that we're about to show. I only really knew him. Of course, I knew of him for a while, but I really knew him only the last year of his life. He's I've called him often the Godfather of the paranormal. Everybody coming along as a piglet suckled at the sow that was Richard Crow. It was said at his wake he never met a buffet he didn't like. So that's something of his personality.
He
When I
was a
walked
big
into
guy.
the event, yes, he was. Between a couple of videos we're about to show, uh, I sat there, walked into a bar, and me and Richard Crow over drinks for 2.5 hours. Nobody talks to Richard Crow for 2.5 hours. Even radio shows, you got commercials. They got to talk about this, that, and the other with the radio show, put in their little uh, blurbs. When you're talking about live radio, it was just me, him at the bar with almost no interruption for 2.5 hours, talking to paranormal, talking to Civil War, another one of our common things we like to talk about, and uh, Western activity. I was actually in a Western group, the Westerners, which is a Western group that studies what happened in the Rural West, and of course the Civil War Roundtable, where you discuss the Civil War. And he got a kick out of talking to me, being from Georgia. We actually got to talk about my viewpoints as a Southerner, which being a native Georgian, everybody talks about the great things that William Tecumseh Sherman
Sherman, yeah, the
did
March to the
by
Sea.
coming through the breadbasket, because Georgia, Georgia pretty well fed the Confederacy.
Yes.
Then that's why he came down from Tennessee, marched through Georgia, burned Atlanta, burned crops, destroyed businesses, looted stores. He stampeded women and raped cattle, and that's the Georgia viewpoint.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to comment on the raping of cattle, huh?
I'm not. I'm not touching it at all because I'll get in trouble for that one for sure. So,
But anyway, that's
why
what
don't
we
you give
talked
a little?
about, and that was done videos.
Okay.
What?
That's what I was going to ask. Oh, wait a minute. No, I thought there was another question here. Here's a question.
We may be of the same age. Somebody joked with us, say when we say 60s, what about the 1860s? Sometimes I feel like I was around in the 1860s, but no, I'm talking about the 1960s, and that's
Chances
where
are
I
we
grew
wouldn't be
up. I was
alive.
born in,
We wouldn't be alive if it was the
yes,
1860s because we probably would have been killed in the Civil War. So
right. I would not look as good as I do now.
that's awesome. So the first video that you have is which one?
It will start at the Red Lion
Okay.
and then go down to the biograph. Show you a little history of the thing. If you're familiar with John Dillinger, he was at his last night. He watched the Manhattan Melodrama, was the name of the movie. It was a gangster movie. Uh, he was in that theater, the biograph, watching that movie. And when he came out, the FBI saw him and shot him just down from just a few steps from the biograph in the alley. And this will show from starting from the Red Line, just a couple of minutes of Red Line footage. And then we'll go down the street to the biograph. I will take you to some very, very rare footage of the inside of the biograph. It's just closed now. You can't get in there. It went out of business with COVID. The people that were there when I shot the video are not there anymore. COVID put them out of business like it did so many other businesses. So this is very rare footage that nobody can get now of the inside of the lobby of the Biograph Theater. Then walking down to the alley, and then we'll go to the inside of the Lincoln Station, which is still a very nice pub. You can go in there and get a good meal. You get drinks there, a little prop for them. They're a really nice place if you want to get something to eat and have a few drinks before you go home. And then we will go march from, at the time Dillinger walked out of the biograph, we will start a march across the street from Lincoln Station Bar to the biograph. And at the time, exact second he wanted that theater, we will walk down to the alley, and Richard Crowe will pour a beer where John Dillinger fell dead. And then we will see. This is his last time he was able to do this, because 11 months later he was dead. He died of June the next year in 2012. So this is his last John Dillinger event. Also got the Lady in Red contest. You will see some lovely ladies all dressed up. Some of them actually went reality and had an orange dress on, because the neon lights of the biograph, red dress doesn't make any sense. A lot of red dresses around.
You want to tell everybody why she was important?
She was informant for the FBI, trying not to get deported, because she was known runner of whorehouses. That's what she did. I believe it was Romania, where she was from. And she run prostitution houses over there, came over here for a better life, run a nicer house of prostitution, make some more money. And yes, she was running whores. Yes, the FBI knew about it. Yes, they promised not to deport her by turning in John Dillinger, and they deported her butt anyway.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they lied to her face and said they would see what they could do about not deporting her. And within a matter of a month or two after John Dillinger hit the ground in the alleyway, her butt was on a ship back home.
Okay, so these videos you had up here before.
Yes.
They're not here right now.
Are they still there? Do I need to reload them? Huh?
You have to reload them.
Reload them. Okay. Now, I gotta go to the den. So give me a minute or two. So
Okay.
I have to say, do a song and dance. Uh, or if you got a stripper pole behind you, go ahead and do that.
No, I'm no good at that.
And I'll load them back up.
Okay, thank you very much. So everybody that's in here, this is, we're going to go from here. We're going to go through the Dillinger stuff, and then we're going to go back into some of the investigations that he had gone ahead and been on in Chicago. Resurrection Cemetery and Resurrection Mary are two very big names in Chicago in the paranormal community. And there's they had to replace the bars on the cemetery gates because supposedly uh, Resurrection Mary had grabbed the bars with her hands and had actually melted them and pulled them away a little bit. Uh, I can't remember the circumstances behind it. All I remembered was that people would go there all the time and stop, and everybody wanted to touch the bars. So they finally replaced them. And it's this area is unbelievable. It has a zillion people buried there. I have a lot of my family is buried in Resurrection on my father's side and my grandmother's side. Uh, and Chicago people are tight people when it comes to that kind of thing. So, it's important to understand the background behind it and the cemeteries and just the amount of people that are buried there. There's also somebody else that is involved in that area too, and that was the some of the victims from the John Wayne Gacy. He was the clown, and he murdered boys, and so there's some of them that are buried there now after they finally got them all together. It's not giving a solid list on IMDb. Okay, I'll go ahead and mention that to him when he comes back. But that's a lot of the stuff that we're mentioning is to a lot of people from here or from out of town. They don't really have a clue about the history that's back there, and that's the big thing is there's such a big there was such a big crime presence in the city back in the days, and that's the way it ran. So do you want me to hit? He's back. So you want me to hit the one with you on it?
Uh, Start from left to right.
Okay, so it's got you. It says Len Dorman.
Yes.
Okay, so that's just a picture, right?
Oops, not there.
Okay, the next
That's
one.
just a picture. You can take that back down. That's just me. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so here's the next one, and
There we
I'm
are.
going to play it. I'm going to play it.
Okay, we can kind of talk over this. This is just
Photo.
photos. This is outside of the biograph.
Okay, I have to click on it again. No,
Whoops.
what am I doing? That was the biograph. That's all that's on that one is a picture
Okay,
of the
just
biograph.
let right. No, there's pictures about every 6 or 7 seconds. They'll change to another picture.
Okay, I see it now. Okay.
So it should be running. There it goes. Like I said, this is the outside of the biograph as it looked in 2011. Uh, they had a play there called The Homosexuals at the time. That's what's on the marquee. It was divided when, back in Don Diller's day, it was just a movie theater. It was so large that they divided it into 3 or 4 separate theaters. Some of them would only hold 50 people, even with standing room. So it's, the inside of the actual theater is nothing like the day where John Dillinger was there, but the marquee is pretty much like it was.
So they redid the
some
interior
photo. This is completely put walls up where there wasn't walls before, just dividing it up. Now here's a picture of the
that's
alleyway.
the alley. And this is probably right there where he was killed, because I remember watching right about there.
Right about the center of that photo. That's where he fell. And now there's a big John Dillinger mural painted on that brick wall now. I said, this is just what it looked like in 2011. That's the spot. And by the way, just a note, the group I was in, and I wasn't in a paranormal group at the time, I begged people to come with me to this event. We're only talking about $10 for the full price. And I said, I'll go over there and investigate during the day, and then we'll go to the event, and we'll investigate during the nighttime after the event. This is from inside Lincoln Station. And I couldn't get anybody to go with me. Paranormal group, we're talking about an investigation where we didn't have to pay money. If we wanted to hang around Richard Crow and go to his event, $10, and then investigating before and after the event. And I couldn't get anybody to go. One guy actually drove by on his motorcycle during the event and didn't stop. And there's a copyright for all the videos. Go ahead and start the next one in line.
Okay.
Delete this one so I can go ahead and load up the last one. Because I can only load up 3 at once. So I'll go ahead and play this one. And if you delete the first one, I go ahead and put the last one up.
It's a biograph figure from across the street. How you doing?
Station. And then it's that's it. Yeah.
Okay, that's.
We're inside the theater.
A lot of people haven't been in there now, so this is something a lot of people haven't seen. This is the interior of the lobby. Len's done a unbelievable job on this back in the day, and it's really interesting that they changed this around a lot, because now it's they were serving drinks there, huh?
Greg, go ahead and delete the first video so I can put the last one up.
Okay.
No, the first video, just delete it. Don't delete that picture.
No, I didn't. So
Yeah, go ahead and delete that video right there.
Okay,
Okay, then we can go ahead and go back to playing the second one.
How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Doing fine. So are you in charge of the parade or part of the parade this
No, I'm going to be in it.
Oh, very nice.
I want to talk to Richard Crow.
What time does it start?
His program starts at 8.
Okay, perfect. That's the time our show?
He'll be doing his program over until about 10. Then we're going to march on the street, on the sidewalk down the alley
Very nice.
to where Dillinger got killed. Because this is the anniversary.
That's right. Day today.
What movie are you showing tonight?
We don't do movies anymore. We do live theater plays.
It would be really cool that it's on the anniversary. You show the movie he was looking at.
Oh, yeah, Manhattan Melodrama.
Yes.
We were told, well, of course, Daly's out now. But when we bought the place, Daly kind of made it, the city kind of made it
Yeah.
a rule we weren't allowed to mention
Right.
or do any marketing. Of course, we got the movie poster right next to the box office.
Yes.
So which money should I use to go,
Do we have any more of that? I know, I call it that, but it's really the stuff we can play on coast checks.
Scotty Special Funds?
Hello, ladies, how are you?
It's nice and cool at the bar. Not yet. For ladies, yes.
is anybody picking up anything from the inside the lobby there? That would be my question.
Here's the wrap.
Residual.
Ticket office. Very short walk.
This is the view Don Junior would have had walking down the alley.
This is the alley here, right? And that's the spot.
How's it going? This is the alleyway. This is where he would have come out had he made it this far. Intersecting alleyways. You got another alleyway he'd had it made. But instead they caught him in the alleyway.
This is why they shot him so quickly. If they'd gotten to that intersection of alleys, we wouldn't have known unless they were right behind him, we wouldn't know where he was gone. He'd been lost in the crowd.
Right.
It makes me feel any chill. It's almost 90 degrees out here and I'm feeling a chill. Because I'm standing almost on the spot where he was killed.
What was it? Why don't we use the word?
Okay, Greg, what I need you to do before you start the next video, go ahead and remove the first one. Not the other me, the first video. Go ahead and remove that so I can put the last one up. Yes, he was a bank robber. He tried not to kill people, but he was a notorious bank robber and wasn't a very nice man. So yes, he was a rather notorious gangster. So he used a lot of the mob safe houses to hide himself. But when he came back to Chicago just before he was killed, the mob by that time had moved on to running numbers on phones and were generating as much income as his Dillinger's highest haul before, in his history.
I think you
daily,
got room on the end
using
one.
using a phone bank.
I can't get this to go down. It's going
On the not you don't worry about that one. That's just me. That's just the other me from the computer. But the first video that you played, the one with the photos, you should just be able to click on it and remove it. That one, remove that. Because I can't load the last video.
Come on. See those three little dots. It says edit name, kick from studio. No, I'm not going to kick Len Dorman.
No, don't kick me. Kick the video.
I'm trying.
Should be able to click on the three dots on the video.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And remove it. I cannot.
It says edit name, kick from studio, ban from studio. It doesn't say remove.
But that's on my. Doesn't say my. Not on my name on the video. On this video, kick it out.
Okay, I'm going to try it again.
You kick out that first video. Kick out the second one too. We've already seen it.
Okay, they got rid of all of them.
That got rid of all of them?
Yeah.
So let me reload the third and fourth video. Let me go in there and reload. Take me about 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry about that. I just, these buttons on these machines these days drive you crazy. I don't know if anybody has any other questions. This is some pretty neat stuff because there's a lot of people that never saw that alleyway there where he died. And I know that there's been there's been a few movies made on it since then, and one of them showed him coming out of the theater, and it wasn't even maybe 12 or 13, about 15 feet to the alley, and that isn't really the case because you could see there was another additional building that he had to go beyond before he got into the alley. And I think that makes more sense when it comes to the crowd of people that was coming out of the theater with him in it. So that makes much more sense. So Len's done some amazing stuff, and if he's got Richard Crowe on here talking, and Richard Crowe used to do tours in Chicago. He had bus loads of people, and he took them around and all this. And I had a cousin that used to work for Richard Crowe, and she used to work the buses. And it was, I don't know if any of you people here has ever worked a tour bus, but I did with one of the other groups that I was with we did probably maybe all in all, maybe about 8 of them, I think. But it was really interesting. And we did all in Lake County, Illinois. So, and now we've got different people running them. So Len's back. So we go to Untitled Design.
Okay. Untitled Design is the next one. Inside Lincoln Station.
You got a counselor? It is a counselor.
Right there, Al Capone, come out with your hands raised. That's Capone. I got you. It's not really nice. Nobody touches us.
That's good. You guys can sit there and see it.
That's perfect. Gotcha.
You shut your light off. I think you stopped tape.
Yeah, no, I turned it off.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
I'm horrible.
Just turn it in so it was a press.
Where was your question?
Right now, I didn't get all the letters. Just stand here. It's like too close. Okay. There, much better, much better. Much better. Oh, yeah, we can be here. 1, 2, 3. There, that's better. Okay. The other one, you can do the whole
Because this wasn't HD, it's only less than $300. Oh, wow.
Okay.
All right. Before we go to the last video, I wanted to say something about some people are surprised that there's a lot of kidding around, joking around, laughing. This is something that a lot of paranormal podcasts and a lot of paranormal shows forget. It's entertainment. I do my podcast for entertainment. You do your podcast for entertainment. The part of it is you got to put the showmanship in the entertainment and the entertainment in the show. So Richard Crowe had mastered the art of entertaining. People paid him money to get on his tour bus. Were they looking for a scare? Maybe. Were they looking to get some history information? Maybe. But I guarantee you they enjoyed Richard Crowe's showmanship. That's what people come to see. I don't care if you're singing, playing the guitar, playing the organ. People want to see showmanship. Richard Crowe was the champion, always will be, of putting the showmanship into the paranormal. And this next video, which is the last one, will show what he did that a lot of people don't do, is put the showmanship into the show and put the show into the paranormal. That's why I entitled this video, The Show.
Okay. Ready?
Go ahead and roll that clip.
And this was the last event that they ever held for John Dillinger.
Yes. And this is the event.
Tonight, remember, pay the piper. Donation is certainly an honor. All right, gentlemen, are we ready? We'll do the procession from the front of the theater to the death side of the alley with breaks from more commentary. Ready, gentlemen? Here we go. John Dillinger would soon leave the theater, accompanied by his date, Holly Hamilton, and the female Judas, his betrayer, the woman in red, and a stage. Unbeknownst to Dillinger, had been set up, the FBI was fire. Dillinger began to head to the alley first out from the theater because he knew if he could get down the alley to Halsted Street, he could lose himself in the crowds, which you can't outrun a 45 caliber bullet. Hit by gunfire, he dropped next to a Chinese substitute carryout. The patient today, we estimate he got up. And we're going to be walking, and we're going to be recreating, if you will, the last footsteps of John Dillinger as we leave the front of the theater to proceed to the death spot. When we get to the death spot, more commentary, and we are going to have some very special activity there, which we tradition every year at this spot. All right. Are we all here? Very good. And follow the
The lady in red hair. She's here. She's here. The lady in red hair. It's her.
Weather conditions tonight are pretty much the same.
Hands are very refreshing.
Conditions just like this back then. Maybe for that reason, the ghost of John Dillinger will make an appearance. How does the ghost of John Dillinger?
Yes.
I would call mine Dillinger.
Every July 22nd.
Bar, restaurant, John Dillinger did here.
Yes.
And I learned all about the ghost of Dillinger. Jewish race for running to me.
What a dickie.
What has taken
Yes.
place, however,
Pretty crazy about that. What do you think so far? Yeah.
John Dillinger's ghost is segmented from an apparition that you can see, not postcard, one that you can feel. That's what happens here. Tonight, you get a chill at your spine, you from sensation, hearing the back of the neck stand up, the back arm stand up, all that and more. You'll know the ghost of John Dillinger making itself present one more time. 2001, on the anniversary, when I was here with Jackie Thompson, August Henry Porter, and my friend Alvin Fordwell, who was the nice motherfucker from back then. Three of us are here just about now. And as we were here at that time, that Pro. Richard Pro. That light over him went out. By the way, it's been out for a number of years because we had no more money to get this structure on. But Chicago that light was functioning today. The light went out right at 10 the approximate time for Bill to breathe the flag. The light goes out, and coincidence perhaps, but we have a feeling right here, and children of our time, wait for children to jump overhead. We all experience the very same thing, very same moment, I believe, contact by the spirit of God. Now, we've got more than 100 people now. We've got 100 copies of Amazing Grace. Everybody, if you don't get mine, it's called Spanish, but he does have one to share. And we are going to be playing traditional song for Amazing Grace was written by John
From an old church in Chicago? Or is that a black song? Great picture.
Pretty hot in that alley.
Yeah. Hot and humid.
That's about it. I couldn't hear anything. Huh? I could hear. It's right here. I can hear quite a bit.
Christmas roast day here, which is half of Subway Steve. Rev up here. Everyone got their notes. Passed out the lyrics to Amazing Grace. He is. They're like, oh, here they come. Just doing a little something right now. Good way, you know, it's the American way. Okay.
I bumped into you. Are you guys got your copies? Everyone else got one copy?
This is not the Elvis Presley version.
They're going to vote on the Lady in Red, aren't they?
Yes.
The bagpipes.
First, we're going to sing.
I got a ghost. Grab the job. There goes.
Here we go.
It's pretty cold in this weather. They really
I vote for the Lady in the Blue.
From the top.
You can see the crowd around me.
sidestep right here. We're now going to offer John Dillinger a hand beer.
This is where he pours the beer.
Yep, he's pouring the beer.
Remember, Joe tonight, 1934, Prohibition was ended. Democrats gave us our drinks back.
Who's that woman?
I have no idea.
Okay, now.
She poured the beer.
Right here, but it's not over because we still have.
And she's a little heated up.
By the way, this year we have some great gifts.
Yeah.
We have a number of gift certificates to my events. Okay. But we also have a ruby mounted in silver with a 20-inch silver chain donated by Neil Trickle, famous Dillinger collector, who had John Dillinger's car until he sold it to the National Prize.
These were professional bagpipe players.
One of the alleys. Okay.
They were paid to make this appearance.
All right.
They also played, the same group played at Richard Crow's funeral. They played Amazing Grace.
It's all about it. It's all about that. The same way. Does not fire.
Ladies in red, line up right here, please. You're in the contest, line up right here.
Roll to the right.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 2. All right. Very carefully. Your applause.
God, is he good.
First lady in red. Second lady in red. Next lady in red. This lady in red. This lady in red. This lady in red. Okay, it's close. It's close. That's close. Yeah, come together, girl. It's not one of those contests. All right. All right. This lady in red. Lady in red. Let's go close. One more time. Pat, I want you to be a tiebreaker on this, okay? Lady in red. Somebody's right in my ear. This lady in red. This lady? What's your name?
That was rigged. Just like Chicago. Thanks, Richard.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. But the night's still young. I proceed back to the Lincoln
Put
Station.
that gun away.
Our gracious host. Now remember, the Lincoln Station allows us to use their facility for the staging area. Treat them kindly. And I want you all to remember our piper. Yeah. Hat. Can we pass the hat here for the pipers for a moment? Okay. All right, everybody. Please be kind enough to pay the piper.
For the paper.
For the pipers.
For the paper.
How much money did she get?
Richard.
Yeah. Quite a bit.
Yeah, right behind him.
The pipers were well tipped. The girl got, I think she got $100.
You know, I've got one of these too.
Other little gifts.
Yeah.
That's about it, right?
I got a very few more minutes.
Just put them on, transfer them onto the DVD or whatever.
I mean, you go something with it or what?
No.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I do it like for myself and archiving the event or whatever, and I'm gonna give Richard a copy event,
No, right here toward the end, I get distracted for a few seconds.
You get distracted.
I'm sorry.
That was a distraction.
What?
Camera got distracted there.
It's a pizza. You were just hungry. Okay, that's awesome. Great job.
Well, it was a combination of a beautiful woman in a very short dress carrying a couple of pizzas. I got distracted. Sorry.
That's okay. That would happen to anybody. Any red-blooded American. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
But we have.
That's what I was talking about, showmanship. That he was. Richard Crowe was just amazing with showmanship.
I don't think anybody really felt any desecration or anything like that for what had gone on. That was so many years ago. There's still a certain amount of respect that has to be shown. At the same time, that's why I have you on here, because it's your viewpoint. You know what I mean? And you're the one that did all the work on this, and it was your videos, and it's you speak the way you see it. And I saw that, I don't know how long ago now. I think it was on your page, but I watched it, and I never understood exactly how big he really was. He was a huge man.
Yes,
And
he was.
he deemed a lot of people didn't take him really seriously for what he had done. And he did a lot of great things for the paranormal in the city of Chicago. And as far as his tours and everything were concerned, he sort of helped carry a lot of the stories that otherwise would have been gone. He does St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Didn't he do that one too? And that's the kind of stuff
Yes, he did.
that.
He is the one that. Mhm.
Go ahead.
He made Bachelor's Grove. He was the first person to investigate Bachelor's Grove back in the day where you didn't have video, you didn't have mel meters, you didn't have K2 meters. He just sat there with a camera and talked about Bachelor's Grove at night from the bridge, from the highway, the Midlothian Highway, there close to the cemetery, talking into a camera using the cemetery as a backdrop in the distance. He was the one that put Bachelor's Grove on the map. If it weren't for Richard Crowe, we wouldn't even discuss Bachelor's Grove. Nobody ever heard of it before.
Right. And for a lot of the people that don't understand what we're talking about right now, it's a location on the south side of the city again that was abused and neglected, and a lot of the tombstones are gone. A lot of them were broken. There's when we were there, I was there with the old group 2 years ago, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and we went in that one main tombstone with the little boy, where all the trinkets and the little toys and everything are at the base of it. That's pretty much the only one that's really there. And I know, when I was part of the documentary that Chuck Williams did. There were like 12 of us that did Bachelor's Grove that night, and it was a production, to say the least, because we had each one of the groups. There was 4 people in each group that went ahead and investigated, and we had a cameraman behind us. And each group went through the whole entire cemetery as we found out it to be. And the one tombstone, or the base of the tombstone, is the one that is the Madonna, correct?
Right. That one, the base, it has the kind of crosshatch pattern on it that the Madonna was sitting on when her photo was snapped quite by accident back in 1991, 1992, I believe.
By Judy Huff.
By Judy Huff. Very famous photo.
And
I'm the one who found out after 2 years of investigating who it was. That's Amelia Patrick Humphrey was sitting on the stone.
So
reason why she's there, people ask, why was she there? She's not buried there. Her firstborn child is still buried there to this day. She was never exhumed. The Patrick grave was not dug up in 88, 89 when they exhumed half the cemetery. And because only half the people that were buried there are still there. There was no living relatives of the Patricks in the late 80s, still not. And her firstborn child, Libby Mae Humphrey, is still buried in the Patrick plot to this day.
That is really, really some story, if you really stop to think about it. And if you guys look up, if you're interested in the picture that we're talking about, it's called the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove. And you can see the picture, and it was taken in broad daylight, and you can see her sitting on the base of that tombstone. And they could not disprove it with everything that they put it through. So evidently it's real. So if you get the opportunity to check that out, do so. Len's going to have to come back because we have a lot of other things down the road here. We'll take a couple months, and then I'd like to have you back so we can discuss the other cemeteries and the things that have gone on and when you were here doing your investigations too, because that's important. Sure. And I want to thank you very much for bringing all this footage and doing such a great presentation, because it really made it tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to do it, and we'll do it again with using other subjects. Okay,
that's awesome. And to everybody in the chat, if you want to hang around for a minute, we'll talk. Everybody in the chat, we will see you, I guess, over the weekend or next week, maybe. I don't know what's going to be going on Wednesday yet. I know I want to say we have Victoria Monday and oh boy, no, Sarah, two guests on One Spirit Connect, and that's where we do the double Estes methods, and we have a great show doing that. So for all you people, thank you very much for being here tonight, and thank you to Supernatural Link for making this all possible, bringing Len on and everything else. So with that being said, we will see you later on. God bless, and we love you guys. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Ha 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 ha.